Okay, so this is going to be 2 requests in one video. The first part of the video is going to be a beginner's guide on how to ride a skateboard. So I'll give you some tips, as you can see here. Second part of the video is going to be how to Ollie, as you can see. So if you want to learn how to Ollie, if you already know how to ride, you can skip to that part. As you can see, it's a gloomy, rainy day. Actually just rained. But I felt like making this video, so I said screw it, and I just kind of spur of the moment came up here, and you know, it's gloomy and probably the lighting's gonna not be very good, but the spot's dry, so thought I'd film a video. So one of the first things to do is to figure out which stance you are. You have goofy with your right foot forward, and then you have regular stance, which is with your left foot in front. Right here I'm riding goofy, which is how I ride. Now what I'm demonstrating is how to figure out how you ride. So one thing you can do is just jump on your skateboard. Now for a beginner, I recommend putting the board on grass or carpet where it won't really roll. And then you just jump on, and kind of whatever way feels more comfortable, whatever way you more kind of jump on it is usually the way you're gonna ride. Whatever feels most comfortable. Now, just another part to show you guys, doesn't really matter, but there's a nose and a tail on a skateboard. Now, you can ride your board either way, it doesn't really matter, but just so you know, the nose is going to be a little bigger and steeper, and the tail, as I'm pointing at here, is a little less steep. Almost looks a little smaller. They're almost identical, but as you can see here, the nose on the right is just a little steeper and almost a little bigger looking. But another way you can tell is if you look at the graphic, and if it is a vertical graphic, you put it so you can read it, and the top is usually the nose. So that's one way you can tell. But as a beginner, it really does not matter. It's more of, even for advanced people, it really doesn't matter. But you know, having the nice big nose helps it catch for ollies, I guess. I mean, but you're gonna be skating your board both ways, so it doesn't matter. But anyways, just thought I'd let you know for the heck of it. So now you're trying to ride a skateboard. So basically just put your foot on, and I recommend you put your foot kind of on the back bolts. Well, the front bolts, but the back too. So basically you cover up the bottom bolts, and that's pretty much a good spot. You can go over all the bolts if you want, but going under all the bolts is probably not good because your center of gravity won't really be centered as much. You might slip back. So that's a good starting point, is to just cover up the back bolts, the bottom 2 bolts on the front side of your, near the nose. Top set of bolts, but the bottom 2, you get the idea from the video. So you step on it with your forward foot. You don't want to use your back foot to push, which is called Mongo. And I could get into that in another video, but anyways, you just step on the board and pretty much ride it. Now here's a tip from what I learned, is jumping off to stop. Don't try this if you don't feel comfortable, but what I would do is when I would ride, I could jump off like you see here, and what it would do is it would make the board stop completely, and I would land on my feet. So that was a tip I used when I was first learning how to ride. It was simply just jumping off, and with the right, you know, center of gravity and right kind of feeling, you could jump right off onto your feet. So that's something I would use. And like you could see, it makes the board stop. Another little tip, as you see here, is not fully putting your weight on your board, keeping more of your weight on the pushing foot. So it's kind of like you're not really committing to riding, and you can easily step off the board because you're kind of just half riding it. Now what you want to do is you want to push and then you step on your board. And that's pretty much how you ride. It just takes practice. But like there, always be ready to fall. As long as you're always ready and prepared to fall, you'll usually save yourself. So always be ready to hit something and stop immediately and keep your body weight under control that way. By always anticipating a fall. So here you go from pushing with your foot straight, and then you step on your board to ride. And what you should really do is then turn your top foot to almost go sideways, just because it's more comfy to stand with your feet like that. So as you see, push, push, step on, and then, well, you can't really see there. There I go, jumping off. Now, I don't really turn my foot completely sideways. Here you can see, boom, step on. Oh, well, this is me jumping off the board. I'm not really sure what's coming next, so this tutorial voiceover is going to be not that great. Okay, so this is back to basically practice falling. If you anticipate falling, if you're always ready for it, you can jump off, catch yourself, and you can roll and somersault and avoid injury. Whereas if you're riding very stiffly and you're not thinking about falling at all, and you're just going on your merry way, you could hit a rock or something and just fall super hard. But if you're always ready to fall, and you'll do a somersault or roll, or you'll be just ready for it, and you'll avoid injury. Okay, so now for turning, you can either tic-tac or kick turn, as you see here, which is putting weight on your tail and just putting more weight on your tail and moving the rest of your front of your board into a direction you want to go. It's pretty self-explanatory when you get on the board, and that's pretty much it if you tighten your trucks. And these are the trucks, as you can see, the axles that hold the wheels together. The axles, the silver frickin' things that are on the damn board are your trucks, or axles, whatever you want to call them. Now the bolt on there, you can tighten and loosen it. So if you have really tight trucks, you don't really turn much, but you can do the little tic-tac, kick turn, things that I've shown, which is usually an easy way for beginners to start learning to ride. Now once you get a little more advanced, you can loosen your trucks, so that way turning is much easier. You just lean and you can turn. Now you could do this as a beginner, but I feel like it might be hard to ride if you're stepping on your board a certain way and it starts turning. So I think most beginners learn with tight trucks, and then you kind of get into loose trucks later on. But here's kind of a mix of both, you know, because eventually you're going to use both. You're going to be riding loose, turning, and also doing little kick turns when you have to. And always be ready to fall, as you see here. Trying a full 180 kick turn either. So loose trucks is the best, is an awesome way to ride. Very fun. You just lean and you turn. But for learning how to ride, maybe tight trucks is a little easier. So that way your board stays straight. So you can learn how to like push and stuff. But I mean, try what works for you. Everyone's different. And once you learn how to turn and get better at riding, you can just cruise around and turn as you want, like. And there's really no better feeling. then doing some nice turns and riding. Getting good at riding is the best thing. Don't rush tricks. Who cares? Don't worry about who can do what tricks. Just keep riding for hours and hours. The best way to learn how to ride is to go skate to the store, go skate down the street. Not necessarily going to a skate park. If you can skate down the sidewalk over the cracks and all that, that's what makes you better at riding. So yeah, go skate around to the store, go skate around to your friend's house. That's the best way to learn how to ride. And you know, it takes time. You know, ride around for a long time before you try tricks. Because the more you ride, the more comfortable you can be on your board. And you have to be comfortable on your board in order to do tricks well, you know. So now to the next part of this video. How to Ollie. So, I wasn't super warmed up here, so these ollies aren't the best, but anyways, let's get into it. They're pretty decent, but, so, first you want to put your feet somewhere. I recommend not the middle of the board for your front foot. Well, your back foot's going to be on the tail, and front foot, I would say behind the front bolts. If you're going to ollie over something really high, then I would go more towards the middle of your front foot. Basically, I'm showing you what you do is you jump, you compress the board, and then you jump. And as you jump at the last second with your back foot, you kind of try to hit the tail to the ground. It's pretty tricky at first because you can either push down or you can jump up. But you'll learn, it seems hard to learn at first, but somehow you have to combine them. You jump, and as you jump, the second you get air, your ankle kind of slaps the tail down as you're on your way up. And that's how you kind of ollie. And then when you get more advanced, you bring your front foot, you slide your front foot up, maybe hit that nose, and it brings the board up even more. So that's the two main parts of the ollie, is jumping and hitting the tail, and then sliding the front foot up and bringing the board up more, even higher. So yeah, back foot on the tail, front foot kind of behind the bolts, depending on how high you want to ollie.
Oh, I thought you meant to get high.
So, let's see. So yeah, you compress when you crouch down, almost like you're gonna snap your board. You got so much tension, you're about to like flatten your tail, and you're pushing down on your board, putting all that pressure, and then you jump up, and it kind of releases the pressure. But when you jump, you're slapping that tail too. And don't worry about how high you can ollie in the beginning. Do not at all. It's all about form. There was a time when my ollie was an inch high. And you know what, I didn't care. I just kept doing it and trying to do it good and enjoying that inch high ollie. So when you start, you might look something like this. Even like this. This is usually how. And that right there, that's an ollie. So this is how it's going to look when you're learning, probably back foot flying off maybe. You're just jumping up and you're trying to hit the tail. So another way, without a board, it would kind of look like this. Because you're jumping, but your front foot's kind of going higher in order for you to hit your tail, kind of. That's what I'm kind of showing you right there, I don't know. So yeah, just start small. Do tiny little ollies. And the whole trick to skateboarding is, if you're trying to learn something, you have to do it thousands of times. And you slowly get better over time, and you don't even notice until a month has gone by. And you look back and you realize, whoa, I got so much better. So here's how ollies are going to look. Progress, kind of, you know. So if you can jump and hit your tail and get a centimeter off the ground, that's an ollie. And you just do 1,000 more of them, and you're going to get, little by little, you're going to start to get higher. Now a good tip that I didn't do in this video, but I'm going to mention is, well, I don't know if it's a good tip, but something to help you is you could put your board in a sidewalk crack so it doesn't roll, and then try to learn ollies. And once you can do them stationary, as I just shown, then you can move into doing them while you're actually moving. Or you could do them moving from the beginning, I mean, but I think maybe it's easier to learn them standing still at first. Maybe. I think so. And then you move on to riding an ollie. And this is probably the most important trick. When I started skating, I remember thinking, if I can just ride an ollie, so I can ollie up a curb when I'm riding somewhere, I would be incredibly happy. That was my main original just thing I wanted to be able to do when I started skating. And once you learn something and accomplish a small goal like that, it's so much fun. So here's a slow motion ollie, as you can see. And then yeah, so I could ollie up a curb. I was so happy. I could cruise around town, ollie up curbs. Everything was great. You know what? You just keep getting better and better. And then you want to learn a kickflip, or you want to learn this or that, and that's what just kind of keeps you going in skating. It's the best thing ever. Super fun. And then you could take your ollies to little stair sets, and like a little 2-stair right there. This was one of my favorite spots back in the day, growing up. I remember coming here. And yeah, I don't know what else I could really teach you for this time. This tutorial probably wasn't that great, but there's a million skate tutorials that are probably a lot better. But I understand that you guys wanted me to do this because it's obviously an ASMR video, so 2 birds with 1 stone. You can learn a tutorial and you get some ASMR. So yeah, just remember to practice riding. Ride all around. Don't worry about tricks. And same thing with ollies. Start slow, you know. Start small. Don't worry about height. If you can barely ollie, and then you try ollieing like 5 feet high, you're probably just gonna fly off your board. So if you could do a centimeter or an inch high ollie, enjoy that inch high ollie, and do it good. Try to do it so your feet you don't get air feet. Like your feet should always be stuck to your board. So yeah, just work on your form, and little by little by little, you'll start getting higher and higher and higher. And with riding, you just gotta keep riding and riding and riding, and you're gonna keep getting better until there's no better feeling than being able to ride really good. And it's as easy as walking. You could just carve around, have some fun. And then when you learn those ollies, there's nothing better than being able to ride and ollie up stuff that's in your way. And you know, from there you can learn a whole bunch of other stuff. Just take it out. The number one important thing to learning skating is to have fun. Don't worry about learning. Just go out there and have a good time, and everything will come. That's the main point of skating, is to have fun. Alright, y'all. Take it easy. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Peace out.